They built cities where no city should exist. High above the desert floor, carved into cliffs, hidden in shadow. Pause. Homes stacked like honeycombs. Walls shaped by hand, stone by stone, without metal tools, without wheels. Pause. Slower tone. And then, they left. No war. No collapse. No burning ruins. Just silence. Who were these people? Why did they climb into the sky, only to disappear from it? Pause. Tension. To understand the mystery of the cliff dwellings, we must go back, before the cliffs, before the stone, back to a time when everything began underground. Emotion, awe plus mystery, delivery, slow, cinematic, suspenseful. Long before the sky cities, there were pits in the earth. The earliest ancestors of the Pueblo people built homes half-buried underground, called pithouses. Pronunciation: Pithouses. These were not primitive shelters. They were engineered responses to a harsh world. Pause. The high desert of the American Southwest. Hot summers, freezing winters, little rain. So they adapted. They dug into the earth for insulation. They used wood, mud, and stone to create warmth and stability. Pause. Reflective. But these homes were more than survival. They were the beginning of community, identity, belonging. Life here was never easy. Drought could last for years. Crops could fail without warning. Pause. Families faced a brutal truth. Nature was not something you conquered. It was something you respected, or it would take everything. Pause. Emotional weight. Children grew up watching the skies, waiting for rain that sometimes never came. This was their first enemy. Not armies, not invaders, but survival itself. Then came a transformation. Corn. Pronunciation. Maize. A single crop. That would change everything. They learned to farm, to store food, to plan for the future. Pause. Rising hope. Villages grew larger. Communities became permanent. For the first time, they were not just surviving, they were building a civilization. By 900 CE, something extraordinary happened. Massive stone structures appeared across the land. Multi-story buildings. Hundreds of rooms. Places like Chaco Canyon became centers of culture, trade, and ceremony. Pause. These were not random villages. They were planned, engineered, connected by roads stretching across miles of desert. Pause. This was no longer just a society. It was a network. At the heart of these communities was belief. Ceremonial spaces called kivas. Pronunciation. Kivas. Circular, sacred, symbolic. They represented connection between people, earth, and sky. Pause. Spiritual tone. This world was not random. It was ordered, meaningful, alive. But no civilization escapes change. By the 1100s, drought returned. Longer, harsher, more unforgiving. Pause. Resources grew scarce. Communities strained under pressure. And then, something shifted. Violence appears in the archaeological record. Defensive structures. Abandoned settlements. Pause. Tension. The world they built was beginning to fracture. And then, the most dramatic change of all. They moved into the cliffs. Places like Mesa Verde. Homes carved into sheer rock faces. Hidden, protected, elevated. Pause. Intensity. Why? Protection. Climate. Spiritual meaning? We don't fully know. Pause. But this was no accident. This was a decision. A response to a world that had become uncertain, dangerous, unpredictable. And then, they left. By the late 1200s, the cliff dwellings were abandoned. Not destroyed, not conquered, left behind. Pause. Emotional silence. Families migrated south and east, carrying their traditions, their knowledge, their identity. This was not disappearance. This was movement. Their descendants still live today. The Hopi, the Zuni, the Pueblo peoples. Pause. Respectful tone. They did not vanish. They adapted. They survived. The story of the Ancestral Pueblo is not a mystery of disappearance. It is a story of resilience. Pause. Of people who faced impossible conditions and chose to adapt instead of break. Pause. Powerful ending. The cliffs still stand. The stones still hold their stories. And the people still carry them forward. Pause. If history teaches us anything, it's this: civilizations don't end. They transform.